What's happening, financial coaches? Is Pete here, and I want to talk to you today about some of the things that I have been talking about with financial coaches. So, one of the things, and if you have taken my financial course, marketing slash business building course, you may have seen, I'm a big fan of using social media. It's free and putting stuff out on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and wherever you want, kind of wherever you want to cultivate your audience. And it's a great way for people to get to know you before they hire you and understand what you are for. Now, what I'm bringing up here is the issue of how do I get more views? Because I'm not getting views. All right. So I want to bring up two kind of different things here. I'm not sure if that's in the frame here. Two things that I think will help you get more views, because a lot of people are just putting stuff out there and they're getting over their fear, and God bless them, because you're kind of starting to do that marketing and yet you aren't seeing, your video recommended. So first thing I want to say here is that you should probably, if you can, figure out what are timely topics, things that are hitting right now. And it can be on anything, and it really should be in your sphere of interest. So for me, I like to golf. So live golf versus PGA golf is kind of a big topic, right? This isn't necessarily strictly personal finance, but the things that are out there that can be topical don't have to just be on money issues, right? So you can stick with things that are like inflation, or the midterm elections, or gas prices, or OPEC cutting output, or you can definitely do that. But there's a lot of content out there, right? So sometimes kind of finding things that may be on the fringe but are also timely and topical, that's one way to be out there. And your title might be my thoughts on the finances of live golf, because a lot of people are searching for their answers and questions and information on live golf. All right. So that's just an example, but it could be anything. And especially in the fall, it might be related to travel, or, winterizing your home, or whatever it might be. All right. So that's the first thing. If you can tie your video and your discussion or your dissertation or rant or whatever about something that's timely and topical, awesome. However, even if you can't do that, and if you can, great. But even if you can't, what I would say here is be quote unquote controversial. And what I mean by this is that you need to take a stance on something. I have seen a number of great videos put out there, great topics, great conversation, great dissecting, deconstruction, thought, great analysis, all these things, and sometimes they just don't get any traction. And one of the big things that I would say is that you want to put your opinion into it. Now, this does not mean that you have to take some sort of wild, fringy opinion on something, but what I would love to see is more people saying what they believe in. I've talked to a number of people here, even on the channel here, who have paid off their house. This is not a very common thing to do. One, to pay it off early. Two, also because mortgage rates have generally been very low. If you had a mortgage rate in the 3, 4, 5%, mathematically, you'd say, why not keep that debt at that low interest rate, where, in an interest rates environment that is rising, why not keep the lowest interest rates locked in as long as you can, right? So mathematically, it might not make sense. So you could take, either side of that and say, listen, this is why I paid it off early, because of the financial freedom and the cash flow being freed up, and the ability to get a huge line of credit on my house if I really needed cash or access to money or something like that. Or you could take the other side and say, listen, this is why I'm paying the absolute minimum of my mortgage, and putting as much debt on my house as I can, because I had locked in such a low interest rate, right? Whatever it might be. That's just one example. It's not hugely controversial, but it's you taking a side on things. And as people kind of digest what your opinions are about some of these things, they might say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. For me, it's about freeing up the cash flow, or for me, it's about, optimizing around the interest rates, or whatever, right? Or maybe some people will take some bits from each of it. Everyone's an individual. And so if you can take that controversial stance, I think that's going to help out your videos, your marketing material, your outreach, right? So if you say, this is why I am 100% for paying off your mortgage, or this is why I will never pay off my mortgage. Even if I get down to my last year, I'm going to refinance all the equity, or take a reverse mortgage, or something like that, right? I think you can make fantastic arguments for both sides. Now, that's probably something that's not hugely controversial, but you could take, and this is actually a discussion I had more recently, is that the government passed an Inflation Reduction Act, right? And they put a lot of stuff in there that has absolutely nothing to do with price controls, including some green energy investments and some of these other things. And if you want to take a side on that, right, it's a little old now. I think maybe some of the interest in that particular bill and law is kind of waned a little bit. But what I would do is, if you have, a particular opinion on it, it's okay to get out there and say that. It's okay to get out here and talk about what the student loan forgiveness program is, who might qualify for it, but more than that, just kind of what your thoughts are around it. Because, what you don't need is 100% of people to agree with you. What you need are the small population, maybe eventually the 50 clients or 100 clients or 200 clients that you might have that do align with you, right? You are not trying to appeal to everyone. You're trying to appeal to people that maybe like you or maybe enjoy your thoughts, maybe are trying to get to where you're going, but the people that you connect with. And so, putting yourself out there, letting people know what your stances are on things allows people to say, hey, if I were a viewer of your content and I didn't really know you, and now you kind of weigh into some things that I am also passionate about, and we're aligned on those things, that we share the same values on them, then I can say, hey, because we share the same values on that, your money advice to me should be aligned with my values, because now we're kind of getting a little deeper, a little more nuanced. We're not just talking about finances and those general rules and guidelines. We're kind of talking about the value system underneath. And the more that you weigh in on these things and be controversial or take a side or share your opinion or put a stake in the ground, whatever, you're exposing that underlying value system. And that's really what people are going to like, respect, and identify with, right? So if you have the same value system as me, not only am I maybe going to use your business, but I might support your business, even if I don't use you. There are a lot of celebrities, there are a lot of public figures, there are a lot of local businesses here that are good friends of mine because we have the same interests. We like doing some of the same things. We connect at a deeper level than just agreeing about, hey, this business or trying to make money or whatever it might be. Some people are charitable minded and, really aligned with some of the charities that I like doing. I actually got hit up for some money to St. Jude, facility that does great work with children battling cancer, and they're a great organization, but I didn't donate any money because I've got another buddy who does a St. Jude fundraiser, and I like supporting that. And so what I didn't know is that this business also wanted to support St. Jude, so it really actually made me like them. And then actually when I took or needed some other business or some work done, I used this business because I knew that they had a heart for St. Jude. Even though at that time I didn't donate any money, there wasn't necessarily this overt moment at that point, but they kind of took a fairly low risk stance and said, hey, we want to support this nonprofit. And so I like that, so it can be something like that. It can be maybe you want to weigh in on a law change or a legal change. Maybe you just want to weigh in philosophically about something, right? Should you even buy a home, or like why I'm totally against buying homes and always renting, or whatever it might be, why I am totally against public school and I homeschool my kids, whatever it might be. You're going to find that tribe. The more things that you weigh in on and share opinions, as opposed to just producing educational content, right? There are companies out there that don't want to have anything controversial and they're just putting out a ton of educational content. Who's consuming that, right? I've been seeing all this data and that nobody consumes that. Education is a commodity. What is harder to find are people that are aligned with you. So if you share those things with people, like I said, it may not appeal to a lot of people. Some people might comment on it. Some people might say, hey, I think this is a dumb opinion. It doesn't matter. They weren't your client to begin with. What you're trying to find are clients that you can work with. They respect you. They align with you. They maybe share your value system. They want to emulate you in a number of ways. So hopefully that helps. If you can speak on timely topics, great. That was my first piece. It's maybe not as important as some of the other ones, but the big one here was the number 2 point, and that is to be controversial, take a stance, share your opinion, let yourself be you, let yourself be your authentic self, and share that with the world, and you'll find your tribe that way. So hopefully that helps. I'll see you later.